She blocked me from the next show. I found out this morning. I tried to join the server and it said access denied. I didn't even know Roblox had that feature for specific people. I thought that was just for strangers or people who had been genuinely disruptive. Not brothers, not supportive brothers who attended one show and contributed positively to the atmosphere the entire time. I'm Harry, this is LoudAndBlox, and before Millie's version of events goes up tomorrow, because it will, and it will be very calm and very measured and wrong on several key points, I need to tell you what actually happened at that fashion show, with the correct facts in the correct order. But first, Millie posted her game night video. I watched it. She said she remembered everyone's names and made callbacks to previous conversations and called that trying. I want to address this directly. Remembering someone's name is not trying. That is the minimum baseline of human interaction. That is the floor. She also described herself as a considerate and engaged guest. She stayed in my group chat for 3 days and sent one meme at 7 a.m. to my people. That's not engagement, Millie. That's occupation. Anyway, today's situation involves a fashion show and I need to talk about it. So Millie has been running Roblox fashion show events for several months. I knew about the server in a general sense, but had never been invited, which I thought was fine because fashion shows aren't really my thing. Then she started planning the biggest event they'd ever done. She told me approximately nothing about this, zero briefing. I found out the morning of. I asked if I could watch, she said yes. She said, and I will quote this exactly, "Sit in the audience, don't touch anything, just watch." I want to examine that instruction for a moment. Don't touch anything is something you say to someone who has a history of being careless or destructive. I have neither of those qualities. I'm curious and proactive, and those are different things. But I accepted it. I joined the server, I sat where she told me, I was ready to be an excellent audience member. The show started, and honestly, it was impressive. The runway looked professional, the lighting was doing the sequence thing that must have taken a while to build, Priya and Millie were doing proper commentary. I was genuinely enjoying it. I was engaged, I was present, I was typing clapping emojis. That counts. And then I noticed the camera angle from my seat was ideally not the best. I want to be very clear about what I was trying to do here. I was attempting to have the best possible viewing experience so I could be the most supportive audience member. That is the whole motivation. I asked in the chat how to change the camera angle because I literally could not see the outfits properly, and I wanted to see them properly because I cared about the show. Millie said, "You don't, just watch." Fine, I accepted that. But I'm a problem solver by nature, so while sitting there, I did a small amount of exploring in the settings just to know what options existed. Just to know. I wasn't planning to change anything. And then I found the admin panel. It was not hidden, it was right there in the settings. And I thought, genuinely, with good intentions, that having admin access could be useful. If something went wrong during the show, I'd be positioned to help. I was thinking about contingencies. I was thinking ahead like a responsible person. I gave myself access quietly, didn't tell anyone, and went back to watching. Nobody would have ever known. And then there was the button incident. I was navigating, my mouse moved, I clicked something that I thought was a camera function, and it turned out to be the server's admin demolition button. The entire runway disappeared, just gone, folded into the floor, in front of 50 people, while a model was mid-walk. I will be honest, my stomach dropped for about 2 seconds, and then I switched into action mode, because someone had to be. I typed, "I'll fix it," because I was going to fix it. Millie typed something in capitals. I had already started before I finished reading her message because time was critical. I went into the build inventory and I began reconstructing the runway. Were the pieces identical to the original? No. Could I replicate 4 evenings of custom construction in 90 seconds under pressure? Obviously not. But I built something functional and I built it fast, and the models were able to walk on it, and that is the definition of a solution. There was a sphere. I know everyone is going to talk about the sphere. The sphere was a structural decision. At the point I placed it, I needed something with volume to fill a specific gap, and the sphere was the right shape for that gap. Was it conventional? No, but one audience member said it was giving avant-garde. Another said it added texture. Those are compliments, real ones, from actual people who were there. The sphere worked. The sphere was good. I will not be apologizing for the sphere. And then the show continued, and I stayed engaged. I kept the chat positive, I typed that it was going great because from where I was sitting, it was going great. Someone asked me what the next round's theme was going to be, and I told them. I told them what I knew. What I knew happened to be slightly out of date because the schedule had changed 2 days earlier, and I was not told because I was not part of the planning process, because nobody told me anything. That is not my fault. I answered a direct question with the information I had available. This is called being helpful. And then I noticed the energy in the middle section dipping slightly. Just slightly. The music felt low-key for the moment. I found the music panel, I selected something with better momentum for Zara's section, and I updated it. I was making a real-time production decision to support the show's energy. Zara walked out, she looked incredible, and I believe the energy was better. I stand by this decision. At some point after that, I stepped away from my keyboard. 2 minutes, maybe 2.5. I got a glass of water, normal human activity. What nobody told me, what is not in any server documentation that I never received, is that the server has a default spawn location for idle avatars, and that exact center of the runway is the runway. I came back and I was standing in the middle of the grand finale. 5 models were navigating around me. The lighting was going, the music was playing. I assessed the situation in about 1 second. I walked off the runway, calmly, deliberately, no running, no panicking, no making it worse. A calm, professional exit in full view of everyone. Priya said, a very special surprise guest appearance, Harry. The audience went incredible. Someone said it was the highlight of the entire show. 3 people thought my appearance was so well timed that it must have been intentional. That is not a disaster. That is charisma. That is an unexpected moment that the crowd loved, and I am choosing to accept that. I typed NP because it was handled. I handled it. No problem. That is what NP means. After the show, I told Millie it went really well, because it did go really well. 50 people attended, the audience was engaged, there were memorable moments, the sphere, the surprise finale appearance, the mid-show energy boost. People left happy. That is a successful event by any reasonable measure. And now I'm blocked from the next show, from an access denied notification, this morning, before I'd even had breakfast. I'm not going to pretend that doesn't sting. It does. I showed up, I tried at every single moment. My sphere was called avant-garde, my accidental finale appearance was called the highlight, and I'm blocked. I genuinely don't know what else I could have done. Millie works hard, she does. The planning, the coordination, the backup schedule, I see all of it and I respect it, I really do. I just think there is room in that operation for someone with initiative and quick structural thinking. I built a sphere under pressure and people liked it. That should count for something. Subscribe so you don't miss Millie's version of this tomorrow. There will be a list of everything I did wrong in chronological order. The sphere will feature prominently. I'm telling you now, the sphere was a solution, not a problem. I'm Harry. I just want someone to acknowledge the sphere.